Hey everybody, and hope everyone is doing great. Thank you for watching, much appreciated as usual. Um, I wanted to share a little bit of information. This is it's not new info. It's stuff I've even read in the past. I mean, this is like hundreds of years old, thousands maybe. Um, that's just Earth. This information has probably been known for who knows how long, but it just kind of clicked for me, and I came to like a new understanding of things I've read in the past and experienced as well. So I just wanted to put this out there to share. So I thought it was pretty exciting. Now, many of you, like if you've read a lot of New Age stuff or just like spiritual stuff, whether it's like Eastern religions, like say Hindu or Buddhism, or more like, again, New Age spiritual meditative practices, lucid dreaming, which is pretty ancient too. Then you've probably heard about things like singular consciousness, like everything is one. Everything is one, and there's a singular consciousness and we are all part of it. So we are truly not separate. We are all the same. And I've read this too in a lot of different contexts over the years. And I mean, I kind of got it to a certain degree, but I didn't. So I did believe that, but I didn't. My understanding was a little bit nuanced and what's the word? It was too fractured, I guess. But what really brought it together for me is the scientific concept of this sort of existential knowledge, meaning holographic theory. So what holographic theory, and I'm no expert by the way, but at a basic level, I think I've got a pretty decent understanding. All it means is that a part of something contains all the information within it. Now, using like more specific scientific terms, like if you take the area of something, like let's say we use the Earth as an example, and we use the atmosphere to create like a barrier or a, what do you call it? Like, it's like a barrier or an outside, whatever, there's a word I'm looking for. So, but the surface area of that, contains all the information of everything within it. So everything that is part of something contains 100% of all of it at all times, past, present, and even future speculation. It's like a living, fluid database, which it's kind of, you could use a computer analogy. It's like a big computer of information. And just like a computer, it's like with Google, you can search it and you can mine it for data, even speak to it, like with ChatGPT, like AI. It's a great analogy to use. And that's what, when you do things like remote view, you can access this field of information and listen or use like sights or sounds in order to interface with it. Now remember the space-time continuum, because remember, space is eternal. It goes out infinitely. The number, you can just keep doubling it and it never ends. Space, there is no end to space. That's what the space-time continuum is, to the fundamental concepts of existence that are eternal, and they're intertwined. So space and therefore time, because the more you travel in one direction, the more time passes. So now on the other side of that, if you take like a space between your hands, say you take this distance and you cut it in half, and you cut that number in half, and you cut that number in half, you will never reach zero. You just keep cutting it in half, right? So, period. So space can go infinitely smaller as well. There's never a number where you hit a stopping point. So conceptually, we could realize that. Now, if that's the case, and if space and time permeate everything, really there is no separation. There is, but there isn't. Clearly, you and I are separate people, but we're part of this unified field of energy / information. So if that's the case, if there really is, everything is connected. The barrier is wherever you draw it, like using the Earth's atmosphere, right? As an example. So I could create this space here or this space here, but really, because everything is connected, the space in front of me contains the information that happened on Mars a million years ago, or in China or Russia yesterday, or this information like with GPT, you could say, what is going to happen here at this location tomorrow? And using all the data in existence in the universe can forecast for you what's going to happen. As amazing as that sounds, and it's just like having a real live spiritual chat GPT. And it's a great analogy. So, because I was reading about remote viewing the other day, and the way they were talking about it is they were like, access this, and I was like, God, it sounds like they're almost like accessing a computer or Google, and that's where this analogy kind of came to mind. Like, oh, this makes sense. And with this unified field theory, it makes sense where like really to remote view something or to access this information. Remember, you can do it anywhere, outside your head, inside your head, and that's kind of the foundation of what spiritual or psychic gifts are too, are the ability to tap into this non-physical field of energy that contains all information ever. And it's really alive around you and in you and everywhere all the time. It's just like, how do you tap into that? Like, one way to do it, like if you were to close your eyes and ask a question in your head and just say, you have to contextualize it. Like with any communication, you have to ask the right answer or question to start getting the right answer. So you could say, I'm accessing remember, it knows everything. So if you say, right now I'm accessing, people call it the mind of God or the unified field or, the ether or the Akashic records or whatever you want to call it, to ask this question. And you ask a question, believe it or not, the answer starts forming immediately, whether we can hear it or not. So we're just so used to tuning into our own thoughts on any given day. That's the only frequency that we are dialed into, most people. So, we can hear our own thoughts. Why can't we hear our other, like people's thinking around us or stuff around us? But this field of spiritual energy, it's infinite. It's just so we're hyper-focused on our physical dimension and our physical thought process. So it kind of keeps us locked into these modes of perception when there's an infinite amount of energy and information that we are in, that's in us, that is part of us. Another interesting analogy is, remember, if this is everywhere and you can access it anywhere, it's non-localized. You could do it inside your head. So really, you're walking around with the most infinite database in your head, period. And you just have to ask it. You can ask it anything you want to. That's not to say, remember, there's because I was thinking there's some utility, of course, to learning something physically. Like, you're not just going to be able to download a language and use it immediately. Or maybe some people can. I don't see why it wouldn't be possible. But there's some utility in reading something and memorizing it and practicing it. But really, it just comes down to being able to hear something, just like you can use Google Translate or type it. If you're that good and that skilled and that accurate, you could access it in any language too. So, and this makes sense too, because I've heard or read experiences, where people are like, well, I could sense or feel, I had a feeling of what was going to happen to this person on the other side of the world, or like this or that. Or some people are like, they say, I have memories. Some people believe that it's due to a past life, some don't. They're just accessing this Akashic field. Personally, it's just my belief. I don't believe in past lives. I think this is our one and only physical first time in existence, which is exciting. And reincarnation is possible, but in the non-physical realms, not the physical realms. That's just my belief, again. So some people access like past lives and memories that are real, and they're like, how can I know that? Or how did I know this? And they look it up and it's true historically. It's because they somehow just dialed into this information somehow using this field, this quantum field of unified, unending, non-localized, infinite information. So yeah, it's really cool stuff. And it's, what made it click together for me is all the spiritual jargon over the years, now clicking with words like, words that make sense to me, like Google and AI and, computer, things like that. And remember too, AI is, like Bill Gates said, the first technology that is truly unlimited in its potential. It really is. And as we start to experiment with things like creating matter and post-scarcity, and realize things like post-scarcity and physical immortality, using the unending potential of AI, we can eventually create machines or computers or other conscious living beings will be able to create matter using technology, and we can access this field of quantum information as well using technology. And that's what blows my mind the most, is that, okay, so if like psychics can do it, anyone can do it, just have to learn to practice. Government trained agents were trained to practice and do this using remote viewing. And they confirmed this on the CIA website. So it's not like theoretically it makes sense, but it was put into practice and actually used. So, but if you can imagine the potential to create AI to source this information, like with anything, it can be great, good or bad, right? So, I mean, could you imagine if governments had AI technology and could access all information from Earth ever, and they could find out where our secret bases were, or what the enemy was thinking, or what their plans were? It's like, that is both chilling. It's good to protect against enemies, but it's bad if it falls into the wrong hands. Just like with nuclear energy, it can be used to power homes and like provide energy and just like things at very low cost, or it could be used to blow up the world. So it depends how we use this technology, but the ability to source information, not only that, unlimited energy, like Nikola Tesla was experimenting with, drawing from this field of unlimited energy, so we don't have to rely on limited resources anymore, like oil or solar power and stuff like that. So the ability of our technology to tap into this information is going to take us places where it's going to challenge us, I think, as human beings, morally and intellectually. And this is a whole other video here, but there are other civilizations that have reached this level of technology a long time ago. And that I find really fascinating too, and how they use this. And it just opens up the door for so many questions, and for ourselves, mostly really as human beings, and where we're going to take this sort of thing now that we're kind of on the threshold of really taking that next leap in human evolution. It's a really big time we're living in if you think about it. So anyways, I just wanted to share this information with you. I think it's really cool and fascinating. A lot of this is starting to gel for me as far as, well, this is interesting. What in the past was partly believed by me, some because it did or didn't make sense. Now through direct experience and having a lot of experiences, still didn't make sense. But using these concepts, like these contemporary concepts of like computer and information and stuff like that, it really started, everything I've ever read just kind of started coming together. And I was like, oh, this is how they do this, or this is how they do this. This is what they mean when they talk about this. And it's all real stuff. It's existential truth, and it's things that bridge the realm between spirituality and technology and science, which for a long time, at least for me growing up, were two different realms, but it's really one and the same once you start to realize the nature of consciousness and how existence, the very fabric, the very stuff that all eternity is made from, what it is and how it operates. So it's fascinating. Anyway, so I just wanted to share that with you, and I hope you found it cool. I did. I just wanted to share it and see what your thoughts are. Just put this out there, and let me know if you have any questions or information to share, anything like that. So, all right. Well, once again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you later, and please take care. We'll see you in the next video.